Nerdrotic.com.
Ha! Oh my god, the Force is like so female. I can't wait to see all those queens slay all those Sith. Look out, everybody. They're coming. They're coming. All right. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, don't panic. Not yet, anyway. Star Wars is panicking. Disney Star Wars is panicking. I don't know if they meant for that announcement to go out or not. I did hear in a Clownfish TV video that might have been Miss, what's her name? Oh, the former assistant of Harvey Weinstein. It might be her publicity people who put that out, and it wasn't Disney. We're not quite sure. Still getting to the bottom of it, and maybe we will by the end of this live stream. Welcome to the Nerdrotic Nooner. My name is Gary Beekler, and I come to you from San Francisco, California. I don't know how long I've been locked down, and it doesn't really matter. I take it one day at a time, just like I take my recovery. Still pretty happy, joyous, and free. Well, I'm not very free right now. I did take my walk, though. I did take my walk, and I hope you did, too. Hope your families are safe. You and yours, and of course we don't talk about the thing that shall not be named, or we try not to as much as possible, and we just clown Hollywood and the celebrities and the morons in the comic book industry as much as we possibly can, and try to defend the innocent people in the comic book industry who are caught up in some pretty catty infighting that's going on right now. And it's just, like I said in the last live stream, it's turning into Battlestar Galactica. We're seeing factions. We're not seeing that unity that we were all hoping for. And we all know hope is not a strategy. Let's see who is here. Jabu's Rum. Oh, my dogs are here. They've been barking all day. Lizzo, RR. Sean the Geek. Sporking News Podcast. Fixie Clary. Super Slade. Joe Bag of Donuts. Oh, bag of donuts. So unhealthy, but so good. Global Terrell. Global Terrell. Rennie A. Nicholas Horton. Tina Bajan. 3 streams. Don't cross the streams. 3 streams. Got to be careful with that. Darth Scipio. Father Christopher Miller. Hail! Catholic representation in the chat. Everybody, watch your language around the Father. Deft Squirrel, Larry, and Wild Rose, and Dan Kilroy. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, friends. Will you be my nooner? I know it's late. I need a new chair. I need one of those fancy chairs. This thing is just broken. It's just broken. Oh, my God. I think I was sitting on my comb. So today, we are going to talk about, of course, the comic book industry. We're going to talk about this stupid Disney Star Wars thing, which is just, it's funny. at this point. I think I made it pretty clear in my video. If you haven't seen my video, please check it out. Please like and share. And do that here too if you can. YouTube is not sending out notifications for anybody that isn't an Alphabet. And I don't mean the Alphabet community. I mean the Alphabet Corporation. CNN, MSNBC, CNBC, ABC, CBS, NBC, the NAACP. I don't know. The CPAs, the CPR. I don't know. CBR. Too many letters that are just, I mean, honestly, the only two letters in the alphabet that are applicable to all of those networks is BS. I know, it's right there. It was on the nose, but I had to take it. There was a Guardian article that I didn't get to yesterday that we'll get to. Of course, we're going to go over bounding into comics. And apparently, newsflash, everyone, I'm a shill. That's right. I'm a shill for bounding into comics. I'm friends with John F. Trent, and we hung out at New York Comic Con. But yes, I'm caught. You caught me, everybody. I'm a big shill. Oh, boy. And that was from, I don't want to give it any publicity, but it's from a Twitter account that is followed by Gail Simone, who hasn't blocked me yet, I don't think. And that's fine, because I'm not going to go to her Twitter account for anything. We're also going to talk about number one made number two all over the fans. Or did he? We talked about it a little bit on the Critical Drinkers live stream yesterday. Please check that out after this one if you haven't. It was lots of fun. We had Andre and from Midnight's Edge, and Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, and Tom from Midnight's Edge After Dark, and Mahler, and of course, Critical Drinker. He had his 1 year anniversary, so thank you again for having me on. I want to shout out to Az. Next week, hopefully, I will be able to join Az on his bag and board live streams. I have multiple boxes I need to bag and board. I couldn't make it this week, so I apologize, but Az, I will make it next week. Please subscribe to Heel versus Babyface, a truly great channel. A great channel. Oh, where do we start? Let's start with the Picard stuff, shall we? We're going to go over to Bounding into Comics, and we will go over what he said. Now, I haven't heard the audio, so I don't know the context. I may or may not make a video on this. Thank you, John F. Trent, for sharing my video. He also linked in the Script Doctor's review of Star Trek Picard. I highly recommend you listen to that. And yes, my review is halfway done. I'm halfway done. Yes. I could see the light at the end, and it's a train. It's a train coming. So Jonathan Frakes, you'll probably get to. Oh yeah, you'll get to see what I looked at Comixology, except for Milk and Cheese. I didn't look at that. Jonathan Frakes on Star Trek Picard critics. They are watching to make sure they hate it. Now, let's make something very clear. I always do that. Absolutely. I don't pre-hate anything, believe it or not. I speculate. I can go off of past experience and guess that we'll probably get crap from Alex Kurtzman, but a miracle could happen. A broken clock is right twice a day. Even a blind squirrel finds an acorn. And maybe Alex Kurtzman can produce a coherent, decent episode of television. I doubt it, but it could happen. And that's why I watch. I watch because someday, maybe, we'll get good Star Trek. Chances are not during this iteration. I think it's made... you know what? The Fall of Skywalker was a great example of you can't change something midstream, or better yet, we talked about it yesterday, the DCEU. When you put so much money and time into building a shared universe, a franchise, you can't just shut everything down and turn on a dime. It's impossible. There's too many people involved. The sets are, you can't change the sets. You bring somebody in, you have to bring in a new aesthetic. It's just too much. So you go with what you started with, or you scrap everything, and then you take the time to restart. And that's what Star Trek will have to go through. It's not going to improve. The best you could hope for is mediocre. And that might happen. If Alex Kurtzman is there in name only and somebody comes in who is truly a new creative head and takes over Picard with the current cast, I don't think it could be good anyway, because the premise is ridiculous. We're now going to be following robot Picard around, which does not interest me in the least, but whatever. And so, yes, I want to make sure I dislike something before I watch it. And then I will pass judgment, give my opinion, whatever. And for those of you who like Star Trek Picard and like Star Trek Discovery, this is the disclaimer that I always have to say, and everybody else does too. That's great. Like what you want. Don't let me kill your good time. Don't let me be a buzzkill for you. You simply don't have to watch my reviews. As far as influence, I don't have influence in my own house. So I really don't think I ruin Star Trek. I don't keep people from watching it. I think Star Trek does that. I think the episodes actually being bad does that. Same goes for Doctor Who and Star Wars. I have very little to do with it. I just watch it and say, meh, it's good or bad, or mediocre, or, like Mandalorian was mediocre to me. It's some good, some bad. It's the best thing Disney Star Wars has produced outside of Rogue One. It's better than Rogue One, in my opinion. And I think that's as good as it gets. And like I said in my video, I think that is a bone for the OG fans. I think they're going to compartmentalize Star Wars until they figure it out. They need it to be a revenue stream. It's not going to bring in the billions that the new trilogy or the original trilogy are going to bring in. That's just not going to happen. When they return to theaters, there's going to be a lot less theaters to return to. So what are you going to do? Raise ticket prices? I mean, if they want to pull a comic book industry, that's what they'll do, because that's what the comic book industry is going to do, folks. They're going to come back with variants and $5-6 books. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. We are, and I'll get back to this article, and what I want to talk about with the comic book shops a little later is we're getting past point of no return for some shops. We are about 2 weeks away, so we will talk about that. So let's go back to bounding into comics again. Michelle. So Jorge Arenas writes, #1 actor Jonathan Frakes recently appeared on GalaxyCon's Facebook livestream. During his conversations, the actor and director discussed plenty of issues related to Star Trek. One that stuck out is his views on fans who are critical of CBS All Access Star Trek Picard. One moment. I'm going to make sure I am not ghosted here. Un momento, por favor. I am not. Okay, that's good. Thank you very much for waiting, everybody. So let's see what he has to say. Frakes discussed fans who are critical of the show while reflecting on his own experiences during the convention circuit. He told a story about his first convention right after the premiere of Star Trek The Next Generation and the hostile crowd he faced. This is not even comparing apples to oranges. This is comparing pizza to apples. This is comparing painting to apples. These are two completely different things. When he started with the Star Trek The Next Generation, the only Star Trek anybody had ever known was the original series. It was 3 seasons and some movies. That was it. This was going into unknown territory. Of course, there was going to be people who didn't like it. When I first saw it, saw the bald old captain, and I'm like, I want Kirk. Where's my Kirk? But a few episodes in, I was fine. My God, I remember watching my first episode of Star Trek The Next Generation like it was yesterday, except if yesterday was 30-some-odd years ago. I had just smoked a big old bowl with this giant stand-up bong with my friend JD, and we were like, maybe it's the weed. Why does this suck? So there's Jonathan Frakes, and Jonathan Frakes is... he's not Riker. He's not #1. I know you all know that out there, but some people might not. At the beginning of the discussion, Frakes is asked about what he felt like to enter the weird, strange world of fandom. He answered, for one, it's weird, it's strange, and it's beautiful. Warts and all. I have been around fandom my entire life. I would not want to be anywhere else. I'm not happy with where it's at right now, but that's not fandom's fault. He answered the convention. The first convention I ever did was Syracuse, New York. And it was the winter of 1987. And the show, I think, had started that September. So the audience was very hardcore original series fans. They were skeptical. They were suspicious. They were generally not terribly interested and completely unfamiliar with the new Star Trek, which had a bald English captain with a French name and an entirely new cast. They wanted their Kirk, Spock, and Bones Star Trek. He elaborated. I had no idea what the world I was entering was going to be like. I had no idea what the experience was going to be like. I was nervous. I was a nervous wreck. And that's totally understandable. Absolutely. And it's understandable that the fans were like, hey, because reboots and relaunches weren't a thing back then. This was when this stuff was relatively new. And we were still early on in the giant franchise phase. It was, in its, I would say, adolescence, not infancy in the 80s, adolescence. The conversation then goes into Frakes' experience as Captain America before it's brought back to Star Trek. At around 22:33 minute mark, Frakes is asked about when Star Trek, the original series, fans began to embrace the next generation cast and show. Frakes responded, I don't think it was until the second or third year when the show got really good. And remember, we did 26 a year. That was a lot a year. That's 50 to 60 shows in, I believe, maybe. He added, they realized there was room in their world for both shows. And then Paramount, in its wisdom and greed, produced Voyager and Deep Throat 9 and Enterprise. It went on and on. Did he really say Deep Throat 9? Did he really say Deep Throat 9? Paramount, in its wisdom and greed, produced 2 successful shows. I think they saw an opportunity. So is it greed every time you won't see an opportunity and want to make a little cheddar? Maybe to some, maybe to the artists in Hollywood who are all socialists now, or I don't want to say the word, but you know what I mean. And then we shut down, and they shut down. And JJ kept it under wraps until he produced the movies, and which were wonderfully received and didn't seem to have the same sort of resentment about being the new Trek. Wonderfully received. Okay, hang on a little second here. One moment. Now, I like to read these articles fresh. I did not, I went over it a little bit on the live stream, but I didn't read it all the way through. So, were the Jar Jar Abrams Star Treks wonderfully received? Well, the first one was, absolutely. I would say most people thought it was fun, even the people who were like, because it was an alternate universe, which does make everything okay. Memo, Star Trek Discovery, if you were an alternate universe, if you just went there, you wouldn't have the problems you're having right now. But the second one, Into Darkness, was not wonderfully received, and Beyond was a flop, even though the people who watched it liked it. It was silly. JJ Entertainment is silly. He's half-ass Spielberg. He's quarter-ass Spielberg. So that's not entirely true. Now, am I surprised that we're getting a spin from somebody who works for Star Trek, who gets a paycheck from CBS right now? Or are we expecting a non-biased opinion? No. So this is why, for the most part, no offense to any creatives out there who are listening, I would certainly talk to crew members. Like if you're a costume designer or something like that, I would certainly bring you on the show because I'm curious about certain things like that. And they're a little more free, especially contract workers are a little more free to say stuff, not much. But as far as actors, producers, I can tell you with all honesty that I have no desire to bring them on the show. Just, because the questions I want to ask them, they wouldn't answer. So why bother? And then, if we got too friendly, it would compromise me. And, So, same philosophy I took at the comic shop. I'm not going to get all buddy-buddy with a bunch of artists because, hey, for example, I'm friends with Derek Robertson. I could never say anything bad about anything he has directly worked on. It's going to be tough with Boys Season 2, though. It's going to be tough. He added, they realized there was room and there were... Oh, I read that one. Beep, beep, beep. Let's go. Frakes then discussed the reception to Star Trek Discovery. But my friends at Discovery, which I was privileged to be a part of and still am, there was a similar vibe when that show came out. People, they didn't want to find room in their hearts for another Star Trek, which there clearly is. There clearly is, Mr. Frakes, room in everybody's heart for more Star Trek. If you go and look at anything outside of Star Trek Discovery and outside of Picard, there is still plenty of fans out there who are hungry for good Star Trek. The best example with another franchise, Doctor Who has been doing rewatches lately. They're going to do one tomorrow, which I'm going to try to take part in prior to the Nooner. And they're going to do The Family of Blood. And it's, oh my God, that's one of the best David Tennant episodes. And it's 2-parter too. They're going to do the second part too. And you see how energized the Doctor Who fan base is around that. And then you compare that to what the BBC, the drivel they are giving us right now. No, there is still a hungry fan base. And the same could be said with comic books. Sales are in decline, have been in decline for the superhero comic book for a long time. And the best they can do is be stagnant. Yet, you have crowdfunding projects that charge a lot more for a book. I mean, the average price, I think, is $16 to $20. And they are making $500,000, $1 million. And these are YouTubers in their space. And YouTubers that have, I mean, a whole hate mob against them in the access media, and they still generate that kind of money. That means people are still energized for the traditional superhero comic book, which you can certainly put your messages in if you're talented. And that's what it comes down to. Lack of talent with Star Trek, Doctor Who, and the comics. And it's more what you believe now. It's not based on your actual talent. And this has led us down a road. We're going to get past a point of no return with all entertainment. Things are going to shift. They already are. I would say film is not as important as it used to be. And that's shifting into the prestige series on to streaming. But I think that's falling behind. Everything's falling behind video games right now. And that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. Even though I'm not a big gamer, it is clear that's the big dog. That's what comic books has been losing to, and film is going to start losing to it too. So you need to start respecting all of your fandom. And when he says stuff, when Jonathan Frakes says stuff like, well, we can't find a place in our heart for Star Trek, he's certainly entitled to his very ignorant and uninformed opinion. I'll just say that. That being said, his couple little parts in Star Trek Picard were clearly the best thing. And this was a reshoot right here, folks. This was supposed to be Admiral Sheer fucking Humorous. He then touched on Star Trek Picard. Tell me where you touched Star Trek Picard. And one of the reasons that was not a factor in the launching of Picard is because the hardcore fans love Picard and were inclined to look forward to the show. And that is true. That is true. A lot of hypnosis involved in this show. TM to Doomcock, by the way. And look forward to having him. And look forward to whatever the story, because they knew him and they knew who he was. Yes, they did. Absolutely. And I need to make a little public service announcement real quick. So usually Thursday, Doomcock and I do something together. We didn't today because he had a lot of work to do. And there is in real life stuff going on with my good friend. I wish him all the best. He's doing good, folks. And we will be back to do something probably exozone-y next week. And also, I will be doing, it's not an exozone because there's no exozone without Doomcock. So this will be something I am going to talk about on my Patreon that I can't talk about here. I wish I could, but I can't. And maybe I'll throw that up. I'm going to record it on my Patreon, and I'll throw it up on, I don't know, Twitch or DLive or BitChute or something like that, and I'll let you all know. But yeah, I can't put it here, unfortunately, because wow, it's getting fun around here, isn't it? Isn't it's TheyTube now. It's TheyTube or ThemTube, not YouTube, not anymore. Back to the article. Which is sad. I'm still a fan of the platform. I'm not going anywhere. Hopefully things change. But in the meantime, I'll maybe if we figure out a shared coded language we can start using to get around the algorithm. I don't know. And I think the familiarity with all fandom, it's so important. It's like the canon of these shows. Yeah, that's important. You're damn right. It's important. If you want to do something new, do something new. If you want to put your messages in an original work, great. But when you start bringing in canon that is years old, that has been worked on many, many people, including yourself, Mr. Frakes, and has been loved and adored by many, many people, much more than any of the most of the creatives involved in the process of said canon, then it needs to be respected. They want a touch point. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. And it's important. And it clearly worked because Picard was wonderful. Objectively, a terrible, terrible show. And if you don't, like I said on Drinker's live stream, if you do not share my opinion, if you think my opinion is too spicy or biased or whatever, well, there's other YouTubers here around this platform who agree with me, who I trust. Some know me, some don't. Like I said, the Critical Drinker, I think he's pretty fair, pretty honest, and he is pretty eloquent with his arguments. Of course, there's Doomcock. Of course, there's Mahler. He hasn't talked about Star Trek, but I'm pretty sure he'd agree with this. Red Letter Media. If you want to go with Red Letter Media, I don't agree with them on everything. Robert Meyer Burnett. We don't agree on Star Wars and some of the MCU stuff, but we certainly agree on Star Trek. So, yeah. A lot of people around here whose taste I trust. YouTuber Script Doctor notes the problems with Star Trek Picard are very easy to see with its inconsistent story, plot holes, and cheap writing techniques that are used to hide obvious rewrites and reshoots. Ain't that the truth, Script Doctor? Hail Script Doctor. By the way, subscribe to him. Oh, look, you guys know what I said. You don't need to hear what I said. But, that video's... Thanks for posting that. You know what? You know what's weird? That is my most viewed Star Trek video. And when I was making it, it took me 4 days to make that. I had a bunch of interruptions, and I was completely unhappy with it when I put it up. So it goes to show, sometimes you're not the best arbiter of yourself. Can you be an arbiter of yourself? I don't know. Words... I'm bad with the words sometimes, but let's get to you guys a little bit. So Jonathan Frakes said, but he did say, we got to go down to the main point. I almost flew right past that. Freaking ADHD, man. It's a biatch. That's why I like the cocaine. Finally, the $1 million question was asked. Host Mike Broder brings up there are a number of Star Trek fans who are unhappy with Picard. And you know what? That's a very respectful way to say it. Mike Broder, thank you for not saying, I don't know what his context was or anything, but I would like to thank him for not saying toxic fans or bad fans or alt-right fans. We got to take the little victories. Mike Broder said a number of fans who are unhappy. That's the respect we ask for. That's all. That's all. You don't have to agree with us. You don't have to like us. Frakes responded, but they'll watch it. They are watching to make sure they hate it. And you know what? That's Script Doctor talked about cheap writing techniques to get people to cover up reshoots and to get people to watch. And that is one of them. And the proof, well, give me a moment. Oh my God, my wife is yelling on the phone. Can you hear her? I mean, she's always kind of loud on the phone, but she's, Mrs. Nerdrotic is a little fired up right now. we'll just say Mrs. Nerd, and not because anything did. I think she's used to going to work, going to her business. She's worried about her salon. I'm worried about her salon. Also, we need to announce the winner of the $1,000 for the comic shop help. Unfortunately, that's going to have to be the last. That's going to be the last help I can do personally as things go on. So we're going to go to Michael Chabon. Hey kids, it's story time with Michael Chabon. He's got a channel. Oh, you pop-ups. Let's see if we can find it. Okay, here we go. Right here. Here's the proof. So Script Doctor, again, was talking about cheap writing techniques. And trolling fans is one of them. So, were there things about Picard that you knew you wanted to do that you could sense would test some boundaries for fans? Sure. To the extent that I was aware of the kind of toxic fandom, the anti-SJW, sad little corner of... Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Let's rewind. We're going to replace the word fandom with customer. Okay. Sure. To that extent that I was aware of a kind of toxic customer, the anti-SJW, the sad little corner of paying customers. You just disregard that paying customer. Sometimes you're motivated to have things simply because it's possibly going to piss off or provoke the paying customer who seem to have missed the memo about just what exactly Star Trek is and always has been all about. So, has it been about white guilt? Has it been about dystopia? Has it been about ripping out eyeballs? Has it been about throwing up? Has it been about dropping the F-bomb? Has it been about ginormous plot holes? Has it been about a doctor who was willing to kill every human being in the galaxy and then decide not to kill every human being in the galaxy because somebody didn't commit a murder? And if that sounds really dumb to you, that's exactly what happened in the last episode. So Soong had a secret son or grandson, and he was willing to help the synthetics destroy all organic life in the entire galaxy. But because one character doesn't commit murder at the end, he changes his mind. Or because one did commit murder, he changes his mind. So he decided that his genocide would... He would decide not to do his genocide because somebody committed a murder. Yeah, it's freaking ridiculous. And that is just one of the 100 things that happened in this series that made no sense because it was different people writing it at different times. It was copy and paste. They didn't care. They just needed to produce something that said Star Trek on it. And you know what? A bunch of folks ate it up. And when it started getting worse and worse and worse, the people who were eating it up, some of them got real and got honest and said, this is bad. Some of them stood their ground and started blaming us. Started invoking the fandom menace. You know what? A bunch of people in the fandom menace like the show. I don't know why you're invoking the fandom menace with Star Trek Picard. Let's be specific, people. All right, we're going to get to you guys now. Michael Chabon. I've got a little special treat for him in the Star Trek Picard video, which will be out someday. Let's get to you guys now. Thank you for being here. And then we'll talk about the comic shops. Hang on, just making sure. Okay, here we go. All right. Grandpappy Fisk for $2. Who would win in combat, Daredevil or Trailblazer? Well, Trailblazer because she's the first to the battle and she's amazing. No, I would take an athletic blind guy who's trained all his life over a plus size superhero who apparently is always the first to arrive at the battle. So I don't know how slow the new warriors are. And quite frankly, I'm disappointed that it got delayed again. Let's check. Let's see if they're going to... move it back again. I hope not. I hope not. There it is. Now, it looks like it's fine for now. It looks like, but I think it's going to get pushed back another week. And you know what? I don't know how you guys feel about it. How do you guys feel about the comic shops keeping you from getting your Snowflake and Safe Space? I would have a problem with that. If I wanted to read a digital book, especially paying $3.99 for it, they should be able to do that. The comics are stale already anyway. The damage is done. If you let readers keep reading comics, they might stay interested at this point and maybe want to continue buying comics. That would be my philosophy. Always going to side with the customer. I'm not going to apologize for that. Sporking News Podcast for $2 says, best YouTuber, I swear by the old gods and the new, us. Yes. We are the watchers on the wall. And yeah, we're going to, Sporking News Podcast, thank you very much for the kind words. And hopefully I will be able to join you on your Song of Ice and Fire book club. It sounds like lots of fun. And I would love to geek out about that. And apparently George is writing. We'll see if he actually finishes. Father Christopher Miller for $2. I understand how Jack Torrance, The Shining, felt. All work and no play make Jack a dull boy. Thank you, Father Christopher Miller. Sean the Geek for Canadian $2. Who would win, Stormtroopers versus Red Shirts? I think the Stormtroopers would win after a battle that lasted probably 3 weeks, although they were standing 5 feet apart and aiming their guns right at each other. That would be a good video. That would be funny. Stormtroopers versus... I'm sure somebody's done that, right? Stormtrooper... come on. Yeah. Well, JJ brought them together. The Red Stormtroopers. He did a mashup, a pretty good mashup of that. Divine Rydia, welcome to the Geloja level. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Hail. Frieds Wide 2019 for £5. Hail, Gary. Disney is destroying itself with its agenda-filled wokeness. I weep for what it has become. We will discuss that. That's actually going to be next before comic shops. And, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you with the female Star Wars stuff. It's freaking insane and dumb. 3 streams for $1.49. Thank you for the phallic unicorn. Chris Mead. Thank you again, 3 streams. Gary, my wife wanted the kids exposed to the classics, so I played Who's on First by Abbott and Costello, and she said I meant Bach, dork. That is a classic. Well, they're both classic. Why don't you play Bach and then some Abbott and Costello? There's nothing wrong with that. Michael Henley for $13. I am doomed. I have caught Gary's tardiness. And hail, chat. Yeah, it's eternally tardy. Sorry about that. Eternally tardy. I work on my own standard time, basically. It all goes back to being locked up for a couple of years. And yeah, it's a bad excuse, though. Nettled Nerds for $5. The bit in Drinker's video about how history will remember SJWs so good. I am doing research to do my first video on that topic because it's a lot to unpack. Nettled Nerds, it's a hell of a lot to unpack. Take your time with your research. It's all good. If you got any questions, let me know. But the SJW goes back to the 90s. Actually, the origins go back to the 90s, quite frankly. And beyond that, but that's where it started with PC culture. That's where it started. Things go in 20-year cycles. They do. So the first thing you want to study with the SJW trend is trends. And that's all it is a trend. Trends cycle through 20, 25 years. There's the 20-year rule where, nostalgia kicks in for the 80s and the 90s and blah, blah, blah. It's something you got to pay attention to especially when you're in retail sales and you're selling pop culture, stuff you need to be aware of. So there was a feminist movement in the 90s, the girls kick ass movement. There was Lilith Fair and all that stuff and a lot of good girl alternative bands that actually weren't that bad. It wasn't as obnoxious and I didn't have a problem with it then. This is obnoxious because it's a political movement. It's not really about women at all. Zach Frisch, $5. Don't let SJWs get you down. We don't need to agree on everything for me to really appreciate your content. We are fandom without debate. Anyway, no, we are fandom. We do not need to agree on everything. I don't agree with every YouTuber I'm on a live stream with. I don't agree with my wife on everything. That's ridiculous to think that way. That is the mentality of the SJW. Now, that is a term I try not to use very much. I just don't. I try to keep things to individuals. There are some individual bad actors in the comic book industry that are destroying it, but they are some of the most prominent voices. And there's a lot of people who feel like they are being silenced. And this is a free speech and free expression thing too. Silenced on forums, silenced by the access media when we have giant corporations mobilizing people to try to shut people down on YouTube. And you know what? If you think about it, we do threaten their almighty dollar somehow, some way. Now, I would have a perfect solution for them because when they do that mobilization, they do that crap, it actually helps. You simply don't engage. And that's what we ask out of our professionals. We're not asking anybody to like when you're being attacked online. The thing is, just all you have to do, if I was a Hollywood actor, if I was Rianne Johnson, I'd thank my lucky stars that I got to do a Star Wars movie. I'm making a bunch of money on, let's face it, not a lot of talent. And I would just be grateful. I would think about my bank account or my big house or my family or, my life and the fact that I live in this great country where I can make pretend stuff and make millions of dollars and then all of a sudden think I can influence people because I make pretend stuff and some people like it. It's a ridiculous concept when you think about it. But there you are. Be grateful. So when somebody goes, when some manga avatar calls you an asshat, you go, sure, I'm an asshat. I'm a complete asshat. That's it. That's what I do. I get called an asshat all the time. And you know what? Just like a broken clock being right twice a day, we're all asshats at some point in time. So I just go, yeah, sure. And you know what? That person has their say. You don't engage. And you move along about your merry day. Now, some people get very, very nasty. So what? You need to treat the customer with respect. You need to be professional. And right now, in this new era of customer service, and guess what, Hollywood and everybody else, you're in customer service. You either accept it or you don't. Or you don't get on social media. If you don't want to accept being a customer service representative and a representative for the the company that you work for, by the way, Mr. Socialist freaking comic book artist, that giant capitalistic corporation that you work for is your master. So you need to step in line with their hopefully their new social media guidelines, or just don't get on social media and have your opinions. Have them all day long amongst your friends. But what gets conflated is when you start attacking, maybe you're attacking somebody who did say something particularly horrible, but then you're attacking the person who just simply said, hey, there's this one part of your book I didn't like. I wish you had done this better, or, something. And you bite back at them like you're an entitled fan. You got to think about that. This fan might have been collecting comics longer than you have been alive, and that's been the case for a lot of the younger comic book creatives. So things you need to think about: professionalism. I know some of you are laughing your asses off out there. Professionalism. They're not going to practice it. I know, but part of YouTubing is stating the very, very obvious because they're missing it. So apparently some of us need to state it. I am, by the way, thank you, Michael Henley and Nettle Nerds. I appreciate it. And Zach. Star Wars, The Force is Karen, says Flashy Vic for $2. It is. Hail Karen. Send in the Karens. That's right. Send in the Karens. I almost put a Karen haircut on Luke Skywalker for the thumbnail, but I'm saving that for a later date. Yeah, Karen Wars. That's where we're going. That's what this is going to be. Disney Star Wars hasn't learned a thing. I thought they did. The Phantom Menace was effective. I think the best they could do, though, was to get Star Wars again to throw the fandom a bone. That's it. So you'll have a show, and The Mandalorian's not a bad show. I mean, if you're going to be a fan of it, cool. It still takes place in a world that's completely screwed up for me. So I'm not going to be a fan. I'm not going to be a Star Wars fan. Something I adored for decades. That's not an over-exaggeration. 4 decades. I was a giant fan of Star Wars. I spent thousands of dollars on action figures and toys and books, mostly comic books, and soundtracks. Bought the movie over and over and over again. Went back to see it in a theater over and over and over again, and would have continued to do so. If Disney just didn't make anything, they'd be better off. If they would have made Star Wars Land, they would have been much better off. So when you hear an announcement, a freaking announcement of a female-centric Star Wars show, which is ridiculous, which is absolutely ridiculous amongst you. I don't know if you guys check out my video. I read an article that came out 2 days ago from Deadline that is talking about force majeure, which I didn't know what it meant. I had to ask Andre. And basically it means act of God. And with this act of God, they can terminate, for example, so Viacom CBS can terminate Alex Kurtzman's contract at the 8-week point, I believe. And we are approaching it. And guess what? We're going to get there. California is not going to release before then, at least for entertainment, places you can gather. I think they might do a phase thing. I don't think a salon is going to be a part of that. So I don't know how the entertainment industry will be a part of that. So we'll just see. We'll have to see. But if it goes into 8 weeks, you're going to start seeing what I read, what I didn't read in the video, the next paragraph, where it's used the term bloodbath. Bloodbath. Now, is it going to be Alex Kurtzman? I don't know. I'm not saying it's going to be Alex Kurtzman, but it will be maybe your Dana Schwartz. Now, you saw a couple people get knocked off by Marvel already. Now, those are people who were kind of on their way out. One was a show that was in production, but they were connected to Jeff Loeb. I highly doubt that they would get rid of somebody from the MCU that's going to be connected to Disney Plus. I highly doubt that. But let's look at the history of Lucasfilm, Disney Star Wars. It's a history of chaos, of absolute chaos. They had their sure thing, Ewan McGregor, back for Obi-Wan, and they effed it up. I mean, they can F up a good lay. So what do we have coming down the pike? We've got the Obi-Wan series, I think. A prequel. A prequel about a guy babysitting a kid who eventually quits on everybody. And then we have Juan Solo, and he's going to come in, Diego Luna's show, and I will watch it maybe for Alan Tudyk, 2KSO. The robot will be more interesting than the human in that show. And then we're going to get the female-centric Star Wars. Now, I know Clownfish reported that it was an alternate timeline. I kind of took that article as to saying it was in a different point in the Star Wars timeline. That's what it said. But if it is an alternate timeline, if they actually do that, then the ground is being broken. And by the way, it's being broken already. And I said this the day Disney bought Star Wars. I've said it repeatedly on this channel. I stand by it. You will see it sooner than later. They will remake the original trilogy. It's happening. Take it to the bank. Done. Think about it. They need a blockbuster movie. Now, unless they did something like, we're going to do a Vader prequel, like a Darth Vader-centric prequel, that would probably do pretty damn well. But outside of that, what do they have that's going to guarantee $1 billion at the box office in the new environment? I would argue that there isn't a Star Wars movie they can make right now that would earn $1 billion before the thing that shall not be named. Remember, the end of the Skywalker saga crawled across $1 billion. Barely crawled across it. You make a Darth Vader movie based on the early comics from Marvel Comics that came out a couple years ago? Maybe. Yeah, sure. You're going to get your hardcore fans, but we're talking normies here. So you remake the original trilogy, and you piss off the rest of the hardcore fans that are left, and you bring in a bunch of normies. You make it female-centric. Boom. It makes a bunch of money. It's going to happen, folks. It's going to happen. I'm going to take a drink of water. All right. But the Karens are going to save Hollywood. I don't think so. I don't think Karen is going to save Hollywood. She wants to see the manager, though. She wants to see the manager. Champagne socialism and political bigotry masquerading as entertainment. 3 streams for $5. A little golf clap for that awesome super chat. That's exactly champagne socialism. Oh my God. Do I not? I experience that all the time up here in these neck of the woods. It's filled with champagne socialism. And just to let you know, Zach, back there, the SJWs never get me down. They amuse the hell out of me, but they never get me down. I got down with Doctor Who, with the destruction of Doctor Who. I'm still pissed about that. With Star Wars, it's gone. It's gone. Like I said in many videos before, you cannot put the soy milk back into the manatee titty. It ain't happening. From now on, we stream in Belter English. Oh, that's a good idea. I'd have to catch up on it. Casase? Or Quesasa? Quesasa? Beltalada? Bird of Prey 5? Hail, Bird of Prey 5. The Expanse is a good show. Watch it. It's on Amazon Prime. Jeff Bezos is going to own everything. You know what's funny? It just crossed my mind when I was on my walk today. So Westworld, the big theme in Westworld is that it's, technology is bad. They stole all of our identities and blah, blah, blah. And it's basically a straight up attack on the technology companies who are going to have, that are saving Hollywood's ass right now. The technology companies will own Hollywood when this is over. You're seeing the end of the studio era. The beginning of the end is now. So I still hear people going, Marvel Comics or survive and stuff. You know what? If the lockdown ended in the next week, sure. If this goes another month, it's going to go from, it's been trickling, right? It's going to go from trickle to collapse. Absolute collapse for the comic book industry. And hey, this is a good time to, before I get to the super chat, we're going to announce the winner. Give me just a mo here, and this will be a brief moment. The winner was, and I put it on Twitter. I have purposely, I don't know if I tweeted something today. It might have, I can't remember if I did today. Yeah, the first tweet today was sharing my video. Okay, so, I tried to stay off it today. I'm really over Twitter. Really, really over Twitter. So, Gotham City Comics. Now, the rules were that all you had to do was email me with a business license and be the first to email me between as soon as my video was released. So the moment my video was released to 12 p.m. Pacific time, April 21st. I did not get as many emails the second round as I did the first round. The first round, I got about 28. This one, I got about 10. It's really tough for people to ask for help. They probably didn't know. They probably didn't see my video. Maybe they don't like me. I don't know. But I didn't put any other rules in. No other rules. So Gotham City Comics and Collectibles won. And he actually won from Zach. Now, I didn't remember that until later, and it wouldn't have mattered at all, because I didn't say, well, if you won with Zach, you can't win another $1,000. Nope. Gotham City Comics and Collectibles watches our shit, apparently, and asked. And he was the first to ask with a legitimate business license, and he has already been paid. So there is the proof. Let's get there. Right there. So, hey, if you're in Mesa, Arizona, I'm going to go check out his shop. When the lockdown is over, ladies and gentlemen, I am hitting the road. I'm taking a little time off, and I'm going to go see my mom in San Diego, and then my other mom, long story, in New Mexico. Not lesbians. Not that matters, but they're not. I'm adopted. So I'm going on a big old road trip through the Southwest because freedom isn't free. And I'm going to go enjoy America a little bit when this is over. And hopefully Melissa's back to work. And I'll go check out that shop. So congratulations to Gotham City Comic. $1,000, no strings attached. That means that person got 100% of it, not 38% or 40%. And hopefully it can help pay a couple bills. I mean, it's not going to answer all your problems, and it's the least I can do. I've made a lot of videos very critical of the comic book industry. I will remain. I will keep doing that. Trust me. And I will be critical of Hollywood, but the comic industry is barely hanging on. Should it be a charity right now? Hell no. It shouldn't be a charity. That's not all the comic shop's fault. They were complicit, though. And that's something, you know, I'm sure the owner of Gotham City Comics and Collectibles understands. I know Jamie Newbold understands that. I don't know if Brian Hibbs understands that. There's some owners out there who just don't want any trouble, but sometimes trouble finds you. Sometimes trouble finds you. You know, when I was locked up for 2 years, I didn't want to start a fight. Most everybody inside was about 100 pounds bigger than me. I was a skinny little white kid. And trouble found me. And you have to fight sometimes. Sometimes you got to battle. And this is the battle of your life. And they stuck their head in the sand for 3 freaking years. And they didn't want to listen to the critics on eBay because instead they wanted to hear what they wanted to hear. Since the election, there's a group of people who really wanted the bad guys from Germany to exist. So they made a mental boogeyman. And that mental boogeyman was anybody who was on the opposite side of them, period. So everything got politicized, and the comic books and entertainment got politicized, and the critics of that entertainment were automatically the straw man, pre-built boogeyman in their head. And they weren't going to let it go, and they still won't let it go. And now it's costing them. It's costing them. It's going to cost them their job. So I hope being right is worth poverty. And giving up a brilliant job that I remember people would just die to have. I remember so many kids, well, I want to be a comic artist when I grow up, or be an athlete, or be an actor and stuff. Who wants to be that crap anymore? Do you really? Are there people? Now, I know a lot of people want to be creative, but I would just lean way more into making your own stuff. We need a new do-it-yourself generation, and maybe that's what's happening right now. Because the bullshit that we're getting, I mean, we're going to keep getting it. And that's what leads us back to female Star Wars. In isolation, again, I don't care. I simply don't care. There is certainly a space for a female-centric Star Wars if everything was cooking with Star Wars. If everything was going great, you had some hit movies and a couple hit TV shows, sure, make a girls line. Do it. Try to feed the audience. But right now, you need to play to your base. You need to play to your base. Thanks for the fire today. Thanks for standing up for the customer fandom. Double thanks for watching Star Trek and Doctor Who killing and DSW killing themselves. Disney Star Wars, by the way, killing themselves so I don't have to. Rock Flanagan for $6.66. Hail Satan. No, not really. Sorry, Father Christopher Miller. Just kidding. I know he does not think that's funny, though. So forgive me, Father. I'm a sinner. Yes, Star Wars keeps shooting themselves in the foot. Now, the only thing that kind of, made me think twice was hearing that Clownfish TV video. And maybe it was, what's her name? Leslie Headland? Maybe it was her publicity people putting it out there. And maybe the deal was signed and it's up to her to win. I don't know, though. Disney's pretty tight on that stuff. But does she look like the kind of person who would just go out and do that on her own? Well, I don't want to judge people's looks, but sure. I think a lot of people in Hollywood would do that. I don't know. I still think that's a stretch. I still think Disney controls all of the information that comes. And that was a Variety exclusive. Maybe it was insiders. So it's going to be doubly embarrassing. Or maybe she put it out there. Maybe she put it out there for job security. Because maybe she was afraid she was going to get axed. And it would look bad to axe somebody from the alphabet community. I mean, come on. Let's look at Mrs. Heard is still employed. Frickin' Warner Brothers wished her happy goddamn birthday. Ezra Miller, I guess he's still employed. He's still going to get the Flash. That's going to be a terrible movie. What's going to be worse, folks? I mean, both movies are going to set back comic book film for 10 years. Captain Marvel 2 or Ezra Miller's Flash. It's a tough choice. Gary grabbed you some coffee beans in Italy when we were in port there a few days ago. Stay healthy, bro. A Nano Reaper for $5. Are you doing well? So you were in Italy. Is everything getting back to normal there? I heard it's up and down. Thank you, Nano Reaper. I appreciate that. I was in Sicily a year ago, almost exactly a year ago, staying in an old castle for a friend's wedding, and it was great. It was great. I hated the plane flight, though. I don't like flying in planes. So I hated the plane flight, but getting to Italy, the people were amazing there. It reminded me a lot of, because I was in Sicily, and parts of it reminded me of Mexico. Yeah. Not in a bad way, not in a good way. Hello from the East Bay. We're proud of your work. Oh, Sina G. Thank you for the $2.25. Hail the Bay Area. I appreciate that. I'm probably not going to hear that from too many people in the Bay Area, to be honest with you. So I'm gonna take that one. I'm gonna take that win. I don't think a lot of people watch me here. I don't. I've been recognized in public outside of cons once, and that was in the gym. God, I miss the gym. Oh. Star Trek Discovery Season 3 about to drop soon. God help us all. Autumn Mirabilis for $2. I was wondering if they were going to release it early. I was wondering. Now, Autumn, do we know this for a fact? Here, let me check. Let me check. I wouldn't be surprised at all. I'm checking. One moment. Checking. One moment. I hear what to expect, but not when to expect. My guess, though, is if they have it done, I think they're working on post, and I think a lot of it is done at home, So, yeah. I think they could release it early. Why the hell not? All right. So let's get to, before we get to a couple of more, let's get to Bounding into Comics. And I think they had an update article on the female. Oh, they do. So let's read that together, shall we? It'll be fun, kids. It'll be fun. Isn't that just beautiful art? Rumored Star Wars showrunner Leslie Headland calls white women at the top of the silent killer. The silent killer of what? I listened to part of the audio from that Variety interview. She was stammering all over herself. Leslie Headland, Harvey Weinstein's former personal assistant, and by the way, that's what we're going to call her forever, and the co-creator of Netflix's Russian Doll, is rumored to be working on an upcoming Star Wars series, and she's got some rather interesting views. Headland worked at Miramax, the company founded by Weinstein, for 6 years. She worked there for 6 years. Didn't see a thing, huh? She was his personal assistant for one of those years. At Variety's Inclusion Summit, Headland explains that white folk are not diverse and that white women need to step up their game. I see us all as individuals. I'm not going to get in that debate, but do white women need to step up their game? White feminism. At the beginning of the clip, Headland states, "I just want to say that I think white women need kind of a step up their game, to be quite honest. Sorry, but I'm calling you biatches out. You really do." She continues, "Because I couldn't agree more with everything these women are saying, but I'm seeing the silent killer, which is a lot of white women at the top who are kind of reinforcing a lot of bad ideas." And then she talks about the alphabet community and how they're reinforcing bad ideas. And look, I don't want to judge anybody by their appearances and stuff, but this is that champagne socialism that was referred to before, and this and it is a better term for it is what Eric July called it. It's dishonest inclusivity and diversity. Not very genuine. These are all vanity causes to these people, and once the vanity cause it'll change to something else, you will be left behind. Absolutely. In an interview with Rolling Stone promoting sleeping with other people in 2015, she stated, "I was lucky to come along when R-rated female-centric comedies became moneymakers." Well, that's good. That would be good. If they make money, that means people like them. Are they continuing to make money, though? That's the question. Is anything outside of the MCU making any damn money in Hollywood unless it's produced by Quentin Tarantino? If it was 1917, we had some outliers. Of course, there's the Joker. But no, I think there's a large drop in audience, a huge drop in independent film. It's like 35% down. And I talked about this in previous live streams, that it seems like everything is down around 20 to 35%, which is about the number of probably people of I would say conservative voters, centrist voters, people who identify as that. That's about that number, and they seem to be just leaving and not coming back. You need them as customers. Plus, we need them influencing entertainment because it creates a balance, and we're losing that balance, and then you lose everybody. I don't want to get in the alphabet debate stuff here. Hang on, I'm just pre-reading here. Hedlund continued describing the reason she believes Hollywood has any interest in women. They are not interested in us unless we're in a group and in a Vanity Fair spread, probably just wearing lingerie. I'm not going to be disinterested in that. No, actually, I am disinterested. I don't read Vanity Fair. Wow, that mentality has been going around. Like, it's only recently that Hollywood has discovered women. Only recent, like Captain Marvel was the first movie to star a woman. Did you know that? Oh, then she goes, but listen, I can't complain, or rather I won't. I got to make my romantic comedy. I got to get out of my depression and work through some stuff with this movie that's really helped me out. How about therapy? How about therapy all around? I think collectively we should crowdfund some therapy gift certificates for Hollywood because they all fucking need them. Apparently, they got daddy issues up the wazoo. Speaking with Deadline about Russian Doll and its Emmy nominations, Hedlund stated, I think that's rather the thing that's very cool. Also about all the nominations and the lead actress category. Yeah, I don't know. Doomcock said it sucked. I'm not going to see it. Other interesting tidbit appears Hedlund has deleted much of her Twitter profile. The account was originally created in 2013. The oldest tweet that is publicly available is from March 27, 2020. According to her Social Blade, it looks like she deleted around 2,500 tweets in early July 2019 and around 2,000 at the beginning of June 2019. With the deletions, she only has 93 tweets currently available on her profile. Ruh-roh. Ruh-roh. Wonder what that's about. Some of those deleted tweets concern a play written by David Mamet about Harvey Weinstein and were captured by Vulture on 2018 in February, as well as her own play titled Assistant, written about her experience working for Weinstein at Miramax. She refers to Mamet as an old white guy who doesn't believe your drapes is a thing. Okay, I don't want to get into that. But yeah, so she probably had some problem. Oh, there's Ryan Cannell. Look at Ryan Cannell's video. Hail, Ryan. YouTuber Ryan Cannell describes Headland's hiring as another typical Kathleen Kennedy hire. He said, "It is someone who is woke. It is someone who is obsessed with race and obsessed with gender and obsessed with sexual orientation. Not a surprise for Hollywood, but specifically for Lucasfilm." Yeah. Disney Star Wars, Ryan. It is rinse and repeat, my friend. So what have we learned? What we've learned that Disney Star Wars isn't going to change, and apparently Disney just doesn't want to make money. Okay. I mean, okay. I'm not angry about this at all. I have no feelings. I cannot muster up a care in my entire body for any of this. I'm happy to talk about it because I know people want to continue liking Star Wars, and God bless you for doing that. I hope Star Wars is good for you in the future, but our breakup was not amicable. We are. I have divorced from Star Wars. I got the kids, and there is no visitation rights whatsoever. All right. It was an abusive relationship, and I'm not going to go back to that. I don't need to hear some round-headed director whinging at fans. I mean, that is the most pathetic thing imaginable. Rian Johnson, I mean, it just, honestly, I know you're watching, buddy, because you watch me all the time. You just exposed how weak of a person you are. So many people, like in this chat, get so much worse. You know, as bad as some people say we are not nearly as bad as the people who have been protecting the giant corporations, protecting your products. And there has been collusion. How pathetic is that? I mean, you took a flyer from the comic book industry and you got into little secret DMs and Discords and Facebook groups to write false Reddit spoilers. And dude, that is so pathetic. That is so pathetic. And that is far more pathetic than reading a false Reddit spoiler. I mean, think about you. I mean, somebody got in your head so much that you like took time out of your life that you will never get back to write a fake post on Reddit to get a YouTuber. And you didn't even get the YouTuber. That's the thing. It didn't even work. You failed at that too. Yeah, it's unbelievable. And the Facebook groups, that's kind of a thing from the comic book industry. And that's still happening right now. Actually, comic shops are doing that. They're in their little factions, and they're chirping away in their little groups, talking about how they can screw each other over now because they're mad because some comic shops are still in business and some aren't. You know what? I could. I'll say something a little later publicly. I probably shouldn't, but I don't care. I'm here to tell stories, and this is a lesson. It's a lesson to be taught, and I'll do a couple super chats, and then I'll probably blab something I shouldn't blab, but I'll blab it anyway. Fuck it. Okay. Hey, Gary, I used to like Star Trek Discovery, but then I realized I was having to turn my brain off to like it. That's the opposite of what you're supposed to do when watching Trek. Thanks for waking me up. Jonathan King, you are welcome I appreciate. Thank you for the $9.99. You are most welcome. You would have figured it out. I mean, yes, Star Trek is supposed to be that comfortable thing that does make you think. Star Trek is still light compared to other things. okay, compared to other things. But it had, oh my God, it was slow. Just because it was slower doesn't mean it was bad or dull. Star Trek always had me engaged, and it was an incredibly smart show. But the reason it was smart is because it was allowed to breathe. You know, episodic television is something that I kind of long for now. I love a good story arc as much as the next person in like a 9-episode series. Star Trek was not made for that. Star Trek absolutely was not made for that. It's supposed to be episodic television, and there's no reason you can't revisit somewhat that aesthetic while modernizing it a little bit. It works for the Orville. It's got a huge following, you know. Unfortunately, I think it's probably going to be delayed now because of the thing that shall not be named, and that's too bad. But yeah, you're not supposed to turn your brain off for Star Trek. There's certain things you can, and that's okay. Hail Nerdrotic, checked out the manga Berserk yet? I advise you to start with the Golden Age. The movies are great, but glance over stuff. Stay safe. Love from North Carolina. Yeah, I've got my books down here. I read the first 10 or 15 pages. I love it. I need to continue it. I get sidetracked easy. And also, if I get into it too much, I'll stop working. And quite frankly, it had been a while since I'd done a video, and I've been working on this one video, which is sidetracked everything, to be honest with you, until I won't be free till it's done. And I've been doing daily live streams for the most part. And that has taken a lot of time, but it's fun. It's fun. Jadukan for $5. Hail, Gary. You've been on fire lately, live streaming with some of YouTube's finest. I've been thoroughly entertained, much better than watching television. Why, thank you. I appreciate that. I hope I am not burning y'all out. Listen, I'm doing daily while we're on lockdown because it's fun. I'll probably go back to 3 a week when we're off. And we'll see. We'll see. I don't want to burn anybody out. That's all. I don't want to get burned out either. But I'm not even close. So thank you for the kind words. It fires me up. Modalicious for $2. They really are torpedoing the Titanic as it sinks. They are. They absolutely are. By the way, real quick, there's a super chat square up that's going to go up tomorrow. That's going to kind of go over the chat jumps. I've got a new system here, so it shouldn't jump anymore. But we're going to go over the weeks. There was like 6 or 7 that we're going to go over, and I'm just going to give them the time they deserve, probably like a 15, 20-minute show, but it'll be on Nerdrotic Live sometime Saturday. Tomorrow is a member stream, and then, of course, Friday Night Tights. Star Trek Discovery Season 1, Genocidal Sarek, Star Trek Picard Season 1, Genocidal Soong, right? Aluvarian Imakara, thank you for the $2. I appreciate that. All right. Now, where was I? Hang on. Code Monkey is welcome to the Geloja level. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. Michael Henley, to paraphrase Wimpy, I would gladly pay Mrs. Nerdrotic today for a haircut next Thursday. Okay, yeah, I need a haircut, big time. And I will be getting one very soon. Yes, I know. That's what her clients are doing right now. They are prepaying for haircuts. She also does color packaging. We're also doing some other stuff that I probably shouldn't say publicly. JWT6577 for $5. From the moment Gene wrote lyrics to the music, so Alexander Courage couldn't get royalties, Trek was a cash grab. It took us all this long to get it. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Gene Roddenberry made a good TV show. I've never seen him as a science fiction visionary. I saw him as a good television executive producer. SJ Almighty for $9.99 says, thank you. You are welcome. I thank you. Nano Reaper for $5. Gary, I read that one. Okay, and we are back here. Okay, so I'm going to tell a little comic book story here. Now, if you guys saw my last live stream, which was crazy, I couldn't believe how many people were watching. We had 4,300 people watching. You never know. It really depends on the notifications, doesn't it? But I just released a video, so I can understand that. Now, thank you all for being here, by the way. I showed some of the audio from Brian Hibbs talking about calling Richard and EVS alt-right, and basically calling all their customers alt-right. Of course, I refute that. Now, Brian Hibbs has been in the news quite a bit, talking about Midtown wanting to distribute their own, and basically calling out shops that want to do business on their own, calling out DC for wanting to stay in business. And let's be real clear, folks. DC Comics is in serious, serious trouble. And I think it's evident by their actions. They are trying to find any way to survive right now because they have to. Because if they don't, they are done. AT&T is in massive, massive debt. Now, people go, well, they greenlit Westworld. Completely different story. We're talking about HBO Max. They did a rollout of HBO Max. They barely mentioned Westworld or Doctor Who. But that's part of the streaming service, and they still have investment in that. But they are going to be trimming some fat, and DC might be part of it. Trust me. That's why they're acting this way, because they need to survive. They didn't have time for this. They were on the chopping block possibly anyway, so they need to find a way to survive. They're not going to sit around and wait for things to reopen. Marvel just doesn't give a fuck. Marvel doesn't give a fuck. But the comic shops, I think a lot of them were waiting and seeing, and we got to wait and see. And now we're past wait and see. We're past needing a plan. I would be well into, I'm going to find a way to survive. F everybody. And that's where they need to be right now. Do not wait for other shops to help you. Brian, I promise you, Brian Hibbs only has his interests in mind. Now, if his interests line up with the rest of the industry, that's fine. But do not follow any comic shop retailer thinking that they're freaking Moses and they're going to lead you to the promised land. Fuck no. They're all out for themselves, and that's fine. But understand that. I give you this quote. The last time Brian and I spoke in person, it was about me possibly purchasing my comic shop back. Now, it was at a much higher price than what I sold it at, and he could certainly ask for that price. And I said I'd think about it. Then I said no. I don't want to do it. I couldn't have afforded. I'm glad. Oh my God, I'm glad I didn't do it. But I didn't want to go. You can't go back home again. I want to do something new and different. I do. Plus, I love this channel. But we did talk about all the comic shops that have been closing prior to that. So we have lost over, before the thing that shall not be named, we lost hundreds of comic shops. Hundreds of comic shops. There's no number. There's no exact number. My estimate is close to 150. Before this thing happened, I asked him about it, and I quote, "Less competition for me." That's what he said. So the guy complaining about other people going into business and calling out other businesses going out, when I brought up that other comic shops are going down, what are you guys doing about it? What's Comic Pros doing about it? Less competition for me. So be it. He has every right to say that. Maybe I'm a big dummy because I never thought that way. I tried to help the other shops. If they ran out of freaking comics, I would send them comics. Of course, I always thought of my ass first because I've got responsibilities. I've got to think about my family and my kids. And that's what other shops are thinking about. So there's not, Brian, you got a kid. I've got 2 kids. Other shops have kids. They need to feed them. And you know what? This is their only source of income. They need to find a way. DC needs to find a way. And at this point, we're beyond plan. You're all on your freaking own. Peter Simeti was way ahead of this shit. And you know what? That's your business model going ahead. And I said that before this thing went down, and I'll say it after. You want a good business model for publishing? Follow Alterna. Or you know what? If you're a creator and you don't want to go out on your own, think about working with Alterna instead of Marvel and DC. Peter's a solid, stand-up, nice guy. And he's also a good businessman. And he's not a pushover. So things are going to change whether you like it or not. And we are very, very, very close to the point of no return for half the shops. I know there's assistance out there. There's actually assistance out there that's kind of messing with things, especially here in California. For instance, they've given so many people such good money that they have no incentive to come back to work for a little while, which is going to cost them jobs eventually, because somebody will have to hire somebody else because that person chose to not come into work because they got some government money and they don't want to risk getting, you know what? And yeah, it's a whole mess because American Psycho, my governor, decided to, yeah. Oh, but he's got like a through the roof approval rating. Yes, he's American Psycho, by the way. That's what I think. So, that being said, every comic shop is on his own. I hope they survive. And right now, you need to be innovating. You need to get into mail order. You need to have a website, eBay store, do something. Because guess what? There is a market. People are buying right now. There are people investing right now. It just was on Bleeding Cool. There was somebody who had 250,000 comic books for sale, and they sold them. I think for $10,000, $15,000. Kind of overpaid. It depends on what they have. If it's a bunch of modern crap, then they really overpaid. Then they just gave themselves a lot of work. But if you're looking to invest to start a store or something like that, sure. And if you're a local store around here and you want to talk to me, reach out to me. That's not my old store. Absolutely reach out to me at Gary@nerdrotic.com. I don't know if any of you are out there watching, but I've got some ideas. So reach out to me. Satellite originating facial recognition, or RFID, requires a distance between points in order to scan from space. 6 feet between signals to scan. Oh, Modalicious for real? That is an Exozone topic. Remind me of that one. Darbo Dudubunky for $10. Will you lead us into battle to seize the Disney castle? Yes, it could become our stronghold as we wage war against Hollywood reptilians. We'll need many batleths. Yes. The thing is, it's kind of small, and they haven't really renovated the inside because they can't. They can't because it's not the code. Zachary Moore for $10. Hail, Gary. Your streams have been instrumental in preserving my sanity during the lockdown. Thank you. Thank you. Zachary, you have been instrumental in preserving my sanity during the lockdown. Now, I've been locked down for real for a long time, but I never wanted to go back to it again, and even I'm starting to get restless. I really don't like not being able to... we can do a lot of stuff, but, I want to go to the gym. That's a first world problem. I know there's people with bigger problems out there. I know some people are actually itching to go to work. There's probably kids out there who probably miss school. Well, maybe let's not go crazy, but maybe. Gary, I used to brand account for YouTube. So the problem is that I can't use the brand account on Hangouts. Can you offer any help with this? You can't? Why not? Well, just make a regular account. Just all you have to do with Hangouts is have a Gmail. So just make a burner Gmail account and come in. That would be the workaround, I would guess. R. Fletch, looks like a nice place. Hope they survive. Yeah. For $5, it really does. Luke film before The Force Awakens called Anakin to the Future, called AK to the Future. Luke film before The Force Awakens called AK to the Future. Jerhermy, you drinking, man? No. Tell me what I'm missing there for $2. Put it in the regular chat, though. You don't have to give a follow-up super chat. And hail, Jerhermy. It's good to see you here. And I'm not judging you. If you're drinking, that's fine. I wouldn't blame you. Even Karens don't like Karens, says Lady Gravemaster. That is for sure. As a matter of fact, my wife was just on the phone with Karen. That was the funniest part. 3 streams for $10. Thank you for the $10. I appreciate it. Thank you, 3 streams. And again, don't cross the streams. Mad Jax for $5. Given the fascination Disney has with princesses, is it any wonder why they're doing this to Star Wars? Absolutely not. No, they are going on some bad data. I said that before. Destiny Captain. Gary, have you had a chance to check out the Lost Room DVD I sent you back in July? Take care. I haven't had a chance to watch anything over the last 6 months, but it is in the rotation. I finally watched the Bollywood clips I was sent, and I have the David Gilmour Live at Pompeii, but it is in a shelf in a row, and then when I pick stuff to watch, I watch it. I've kind of stopped everything until I get to the through with my Picard review, but I will watch it, Destiny Captain. I will. I promise you, and I'll tell you. I'll tell you about it. Now, the Lost Room. Again, I think I've seen that. I'm gonna check again. Hang on. But I thank you for it. I just need those 30-hour days, buddy. Yeah. I most definitely saw an episode of this. But I will check it out, Destiny Captain. Thank you. Zachary Moore for $10. Hail, Gary, your stream. Oh, thank you again, Zachary. I read that one already. Let's go to Flavius Alicanther for $5. Hail, Gary. 423, our patron saint's day. Oh, there you go. St. George, your ambassador to the UK, did an awesome tribute. Much love back to the UK. See ya post lockdown. Oh my! And I'll our patron saint, St. George, your ambassador to the UK, did an awesome tribute. I will have to check that out. And I will be in the UK when lockdown is over. I know there's talk of like doing all this crap again. I don't know, but I'm going to go to the UK. We had to cancel our trip, and I will be there. Trust me. 52 movies a year for $4.99. You mean to tell me that the reason Star Wars, Star Trek, and Doctor Who were destroyed because it was some writer's therapy for depression? Thanks, Karen. Right? It really got me through some really hard times, because I wasn't getting what I want or something. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. Listen, depression is real. It's absolutely real. I don't mean to minimize it, but try not working for Harvey Weinstein. That might be a good start. Her therapy, says R. Fletch for $2, right? Unbelievable. Me, myself, and I for $5. Seen the Doctor Who 50th anniversary rewatch 2020 exclusive intro by Moffat recently. The short is better than all of Series 12 combined. Yes, I did. Me, myself, and I. I did see that. I have some Doctor Who stuff planned once I get this Picard thing out of the way. But yeah, I've been very, very busy working. And not getting a haircut. Hope you and the family are doing well. Stay safe. Bourbon and coating for 500 yen. I hope you are as well. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Daniel Henderson for $5. Love your stuff, but disagree completely with Star Trek isn't made for serialization. The problem is you need a story first. Yeah, but until then, we have yet to see it made for serialization. Deep Space Nine was good, but those were still episodes within the serialization. Now, there are different types of serialization. If we're talking like RTD, Doctor Who, Deep Space Nine serialization, cool. Yeah, it's absolutely made for that. Where you dip into the story once in a while, but you can still have singular episodes. But when you're on a journey from beginning to end through 10 episodes, I don't think Star Trek is made for that. Prove me wrong, write me a good story. But until we see that, I'm right. And I don't need to be right. I'm just like, they haven't done it yet. Deep Space Nine was still lighter serialization, which I think totally, you can absolutely do that. Yes. Anything is possible with a good story, my friend. That we can agree on. DC, the wings come off, crash, burn. R. Fletch for $5. Yes, the wings have come off. It's crashing and burning. And we'll see. I mean, they were failing before all of this started, and it was covered up because there was a big transition and they were getting bought out by AT&T, and you have to paint the rosiest picture during these times. Same thing was going on with CBS. it's going to be a different landscape. That's all. We'll get Star Trek Discovery Season 3, sure. Maybe we'll get Star Trek Picard Season 2 in a couple of years, sure. Whatever. And that's it for Star Trek. That's it. And there's no merchandise. Zero merchandise. There's no interest. I read in the video, Diamond said there's no interest for Star Wars toys. Imagine what the lack of interest is for Doctor Who and Star Trek. CBS All Access resubscription was coming due, and I decided to cancel. There are many reasons, but Picard was the straw that broke the camel's back, says Crazy Cat Guy for $5. Good for you. You don't need to pay that. You know what? Spend it on Amazon Prime. Watch The Tick. Have you seen The Tick? Or go to Hulu, because you go to Hulu, and then you could watch The Orville and then the Venture Brothers. And then just watch the Venture Brothers over and over again, and you'll just be the happiest person alive. Watch the Venture Brothers, eat a little ice cream. Make sure you mix in a walk after eating the ice cream. But yeah, and then you'll just be happy. Take your mind off the worries of the world. Kurt for $24.99 says, enjoy the show. Thanks. Thank you, Kurt. Thank you for the $24.99. Yikes. I appreciate it. John Powers for $2. Only one Gary, not enough hours in the day. Damn straight. And no, there should only be one me. It's bad enough there is one me. I am not a perfect being. I have a lot to do. Now, there is a solution coming down the road, but it might be because of a bad thing. So, Kickstarter is probably going to have to lay off a bunch of people because their business is down 35%. And then Patreon might be in trouble. So I got to think about a plan B for that. It'll probably be just memberships. Everything will go to memberships. I don't know. We'll see. Patreon's hanging on right now. So, but my son is doing a training. My son is, learning to code, so to say. And, he's training. He's in this course and he goes on his lunch break and he comes back. And the guy who was training him, and this is a course backed, this is a big course backed by some very big people. And his instructor was fired. And they let go like 16 people in the middle of the week. So he comes back and his instructor's gone. So I'm like, crap. So this program he's in, this is my oldest son, might go up in flames, which would suck. So if that happens, then he just works for me. He's not in all this nerdy stuff, but he's technically sound. He could probably be my producer. But yeah, that happened. I'm like, God damn it. And there's other problems, but we're fine. We've all got them right now. And the thing is to not panic. Boy, Winder 52 for $10. Break the algorithm, Gary. I'd love to. I would certainly love to. For some of my friends, I think some people got in the doghouse, and they'll get out eventually. But I mainly think what's going on with YouTube is there's just a skeleton crew going on right now. And they admitted that they changed things to favor the alphabet networks. And quite frankly, and I don't care if I get in trouble for this, the key to my lack of anxiety during this time, because I suffer from anxiety like everybody else does. Okay. But I do my work. I have my tool bag for AA and I call my sponsor and I do my work. But the number one thing I do is I don't watch a nanosecond of mainstream news. And I'll dip in on Tim Pool once in a while, but even he gets a little fear porn. He got very fear porn today. Most of the time he's fine. I'm not going to unsub from him, and definitely check out the channel. And he seems like a good kid. But he definitely tends to get worked up, and it's because he watches mainstream media news all damn day. I would get worked up too. But they're lying to us. It's clear that they're lying to us. And when we do get truth, I don't know what it is. So it's better that I don't stress about it. I worry about what's in my world. And if I need to know something, I'll go find a trusted source. It takes a little work, but you can find it. It's awfully hard to find on YouTube right now because they are suppressing some of it, but you can find it. And there's some out there wacko stuff too. And you know what? I find that stuff entertaining. I do. I don't believe it. Again, maybe I'm a big fracking idiot, but we're all adults and we can judge for ourselves what we choose to watch and not watch. And we don't need Susan Wojcicki to do that for us, especially when she is actually supporting an organization that might not be telling the truth. Just saying. I don't know. Again, big dummy. I know Disney Star Wars is stupid, or they're dumb. And hail Ichibaka, by the way. Please follow Ichibaka on Twitter. Check out Disney Star Wars is Dumb, his blog. It's great. And yes, we got to get him on the channel one of these days. Almost got him on once, and then we had a conflict. By the way, if you're out there, you got to be on Friday Night Tights again tomorrow. We don't have a guest lined up, but I'll get a guest lined up. Somebody did reach out apparently to Razor Fist for me, so I'm going to DM him tonight. And not for Friday Night Tights, but see if we'll talk sometime. We never know. And, I almost forgot. My boy. Oh, is it bad that I called him my boy? Because he's quarter black, but he's my boy. My man, Quarter Black Garrett from the Crowder Show. Got his shirt. Look at him. Look at how handsome he looks. That handsome devil right there. Woo! So these shirts are going to be part of a Swag Sunday, I believe. You're going to have to, follow me on Instagram. So it's instagram.com/nerdrotic, and you get a chance to win stuff like this. Shirts, hats. I don't really sell merchandise. I think it's funner to give it away. And we might do it in the future. I'm not saying I'm not going to do it in the future. But I had a bad experience with the Teespring stuff. So, but hail Quarter Black Garrett from the Steven Crowder Show representing. Thanks, my friend. That's awesome. It's all this is surreal, folks. It's very, very strange. If you would have told me 2 years ago, like this is what I'd be doing, I'd laugh at you. Dr. Grimm, welcome to the proto-molecule level. New to channel, absolutely love your content, says Jim Lucart. I'm going to mess up your last name, so it's Luca Torta. Thank you, Jim, for $20. And I love you being here. You guys are keeping me sane. You are. Relieved my hope for Star Wars is finally... relieved my hope... this is a good one. This is where I'm at. The Harmon of the Gods for $2. Hail, my friend. Relieved my hope for Star Wars is finally dead. Any hope, I think I'm probably doing a favor to people, and you are too, by spreading the word that Star Wars is dead. Have you heard the news, friend? Star Wars is dead. It is dead. There's no question now. I knew that, but don't waste your time with it. Don't waste your money. Check out The Expanse. You know what? If you haven't picked up Dune yet, pick up Dune. Read it. There's a movie coming out. It might be good. It might be woke trash too. I don't know. But it's something new. You know what? Pick up a Witcher book. It was pretty good. I like the Witcher books. I thought they were and you know what? The comic book, the Omnibus from Dark Horse, that was pretty good too. There's a lot of great comic books out there that are older that you can pick up. Pretty good prices right now too. People are dumping trades, folks. If you want to go find search Craigslist, somebody's selling a long box of trades for next to nothing, get it. It's a bunch of free entertainment. Matthew Sturgis for $24.99. I'm consistently amused that Disney, Marvel, and DC are creating things that for SJWs who will never support the product. I'm very annoyed that my comic shop is what suffers. I will continue to support the shop, but indie titles. Absolutely. And Matthew, if your shop doesn't already, tell them to talk to Peter Samedi at Alterna. We need to get it into more shops. He is being blackballed by certain shops, okay? And it's not outright, but there's certain shops that think Peter is right-wing simply because he'll listen to the other side. He's not, by the way, that I know of, and it wouldn't matter. But because he wouldn't condemn a certain group, and listen, it's a hashtag, for one. There's the hashtag Comicsgate, there's the hashtag the Fandom Menace. There are good and bad actors under the hashtag because it's a hashtag, because there's good and bad people judging entire movements or networks or whatever they are now for the actions of a couple people. It's not very good business. I don't love everything that goes on out there, but it is not my place to tell people what to do with their channel. And it doesn't reflect on me. It doesn't. And also the key to professionalism. I can't believe I'm saying this. It's pretty laughable that I'm saying this shit, by the way. But the key to professionalism is do not engage. Don't engage. Kind of like when you're a streamer and you tell people like $5 is not a lot of money. Okay. It's really not. In the grand scheme of things, $5, $10, whatever it is. That was something else, man. Freaking Twitch. I'm thinking about going over there with Doomcock, and we're going to do Exozone over there. I think that'll be pretty fun. And if we get kicked off, we get kicked off. So be it. Hail, Gary. Thank you for everything you do. Hail the fandom. Big love from Texas. Laser Beam Hawkins. That's a great name for $20. Hail to you, Laser Beam Hawkins. And Texas. Texas is looking pretty sexy right now. As a lifelong Californian in Poop City, I am under the tyrannical rule of a American Psycho looking governor and an empty-headed dipshit mayor. And I just want to leave. And it's times like these where I really wish I would have moved earlier, but quite honestly, we weren't able to. You know, we got a kid in school, and my God, the nightmare of moving this room is something I don't want to think about. But yeah, no, Texas is looking good. I promise. I vow right now. You have my word as a human, as a nerd, that I will not be one of those Californians who moves to Texas and votes like a Californian. As a matter of fact, I think Texas should pass a law that any Californian who moves there has to live there for 5 years before they're allowed to vote. It's probably not very legal, but I would back that. I would back that. I will not vote Californian when I move to your state. Promise. Un momento, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Jer Hermy, what do you think of Westworld Season 4? Oh, that's a good question. Thank you for the $2. Get woke, go broke. Fire it up. Oh, what I think is happening is it's last season. So it felt like they were moving towards an end. And the funny thing was I was starting my Westworld review video, which is I started recording it because I don't want to watch it anymore. I'm gonna finish it out and do the live reviews probably on Nerdrotic Live, and I'm never gonna fucking watch it again. I don't care about the 4th season. It sucks. It's garbage. It's lost half its audience, and it rolled out an article. If you want an example of how you're being lied to, folks, that article yesterday was the biggest lie. So yesterday they gave Westworld a season 4. Westworld has lost half its fucking audience. And most importantly, in the 18 to 49 demo, they've lost 62% of their audience. So it's a bunch of geezer PBS HBO watchers. So they tried to come out yesterday and they tried this bullshit with me and Doomcock with Watchmen, and I caught them in a lie again. Now they're not technically lying, but they're lying. So they said that 9 million people watched it across all platforms. Okay, that's what they said. 9 million watched it across all platforms. So that's every streaming service around the world over a period of a month. And you got to ask yourself, well, how does HBO count a view? Well, HBO counts a view just like YouTube does. If you watch it for 2 minutes, you watch the episode. So they accumulated all the viewers for the entire season so far, and they called it 9 million viewers. It's a fucking lie. So, and that's fine. Lie your ass off. I don't care. I don't care. I can tell you right now, you can tell the interest of a show by its interaction on YouTube. Nobody's interested in the reviews, good or bad. If you go to some of the bigger channels that cover it, even when they cover it, it's slightly less than their regular videos because nobody cares anymore. It's a dumb show. Get woke, go broke. You've got freaking Tessa Thompson and Evan Rachel Wood starring in a show. I mean, it's Wood personified. It is. So, and if you compare it to season 1, I was talking to the drinker. I love season 1. And I own season 1, and I'll rewatch season 1. I just forget season 2 and 3 happened. If you look at it as its own series, day before yesterday, I watched the first episode and then watched the latest episode. It used to have a cast of almost 20 people, and now it's reduced to a cast of 5. So it feels emptier, and it's blame. Okay, so here are the ratings. Here are those fabulous. Remember, it said 9 million people. 9 million people are watching Westworld across all platforms, huh? Okay, well, there's Carter Black Garrett. Look at that sexy mofo. Hang on. 9 million people. Well, explain this then. We're on a lockdown. Captive audience. And 771,000 people watched your program live. So you're telling me that 8.5 million people watched it later? You're full of shit, HBO. You're lying. And these are pretty much the same ratings that Watchmen was getting, and Watchmen got canceled. So, in the 18 to 49 demographic, let me explain that to you a little bit because it is a bit boring. That 0.20, that's not 200,000 viewers. That is a percentage of the entire demographic. It's a flat percentage. The demographic in the United States between 18 to 49 there's 128 million people in that demographic, and that is the percentage of that demographic. And it ends up being that number, it translates into a percentage, which is like 300,000 people. So 300,000 people in that demographic watch their show. So apparently there's another 7 million or 8 million people out there secretly watching the show and not interested at all and not going to YouTube reviews or not doing anything. Because a show that's being watched by 10 million people, bet your ass, if I did a live stream review about it, there would be a couple thousand. There'd be a couple thousand people watching it. I can barely get 1,000 interested in Westworld. And guess what? Another channel, Alt Shift X, which is much bigger than me, it's got 1 million subs. He only gets like 1,500 people watching his show. Nobody gives a fuck. So good. It got season 4. My guess is so it only got 8 episodes this season. They were going to end it with season 4. And what they did is they did the same thing they did with Game of Thrones. It's getting 8 episodes this season. It's going to get 6 episodes to end, and then it's over. So it got canceled, essentially. It got an ending, though. And why not? Why not? Why not just put this thing out of its misery? There are people who like it, and again, great. That's cool. It's a shadow of its former self. I thought it would be the best show ever. I did. It's a giant disappointment, and I still love season 1. I do. And I just watch it by itself. It's such a different show. So they pulled that crap with Watchmen as well. And they got caught in a lie. They in one article, they said across all platforms, 1 episode was watched by 7 million people. And then in an article 2 weeks later, they said across all platforms, the same episode was watched by 1.5 million people. They lie. They lie. And there's nothing to keep them. They're not breaking any rules. They're not breaking any laws. Is it Are you misleading the public a little bit? Sure, but technically they're not, because you can fuck with numbers all you want. That's our job, I guess, is to point that crap out. You know, they used to cover ratings falling and shit like that. Westworld, puke. Right, Jay Torres, you're absolutely right. 1,000% right. Hail, Gary, you're right. Timmy Pool has been really doomery lately. Son of the Wolf for $5. Yeah, today he was like straight up panicking in his van or something like that. And I'm like, maybe you should take a day off or something. Again, good kid. I support the channel. I don't need to believe in everything he says. I don't need to support everything he says. I'm not one of those guys that goes, oh my God, I disagree with him once. Unsub. No. I started following him during the Crowder stuff, and I'm going to continue to follow him because he was the one person telling the fracking truth. And for the most part, he's telling what I believe is what he thinks is the truth. And it's the closest we're going to get. Now, again, I think he goes way too much to the official source. And if you do that too, that's fine. I'm not judging. I just don't believe it anymore. Evan S. for $9.99. Hail, Gary, the Chad of the nerds. Oh, boy. Being that Friday Night Tights is starting early, can we get Dave Cullen on the program? Loved your comment about Nancy P. Nephew, the human Ken doll. Yes. And I sent him an email. He returned the email, and I haven't responded yet. He goes to bed a bit early, but the whole point of moving the time up was to get people like Drinker and Az. It was mainly for Az. I'm going to be honest with you. I wanted to get Az on the show more regularly, so that's why I moved it. So there, I'm caught. But for Drinker too, and Mahler and Dave Cullen and Starry Eyed Girl and you know, Noel eventually, for my Brits. I did it for the Brits. And I have a larger than normal following, I guess, from Europe. Usually it's like 16%. I have like 30% of my subs are from Europe. So I got to listen to the numbers. I don't tweak out on them, by the way. I check them once in a while. They can, because I'm obsessive. So I would get obsessive about it and it would be very unhealthy. So it's best for me not to look. FYI, might want to look into locals.com. Dave Rubin started it, and it's an alternate to Patreon when he left. Okay, I will. Josh Crush, thank you very much for the information. I had not heard of it. Thank you for the $4.99. 200-watt studio for $2. Quarter power bottom. By the way, I never drink on a Tuesday. I never drink on a Tuesday. You never drink? I never drink on a Tuesday. 200-watt studio. Fuck you, motherfucker. You know, what are you looking at, motherfucker? You know who you are? Sorry. John Smallberries. I'm sorry, John. Is a member at the Gandalf level. Welcome, John. And then we hear from El Berzadente. What's up, El Berzadente, for £5? Galaxy's Edge, not the Disney rides. The series by Ann Spatch and Cole. The Galaxy is a dumpster fire. Check it out. I've heard that was pretty good and that they ripped it off. I heard that. I did. Maybe it was from you. El Berzadente. Rob Atlas for $5. Star Wars ended at the Return of the Jedi for me. Hail. Yes. I'd given up on it. Today's announcement just solidified that. Yeah, you know, fucking it's crazy. I'm not going to get upset. I don't care anymore. It's crazy. You know what? They are making Star Wars for my wife's clients. And if somebody doesn't do it, then I will. I will film my very first video skit of the new Star Wars fan. And I will get 5 of my wife's clients who are all like Marin freaking champagne drinking moms who are, you know, shit talkers. They're actually funny, cool people. Trust me. But we can do like a parody of it and it would be hilarious. And we got like Jedi Karen. And they could be like just sitting around, like talking shit about other Jedis and, you know, complaining about the leadership and then secretly like crushing on Siths. That's what they would do. That's what this Star Wars is. They tried to cancel Kylo Ren. I'm forgetting his name now. Why am I forgetting his name? Oh, because I don't care. Who tried to cancel him for what? Because he was in the Marines and he said he wanted to go, fight for our country. Yeah, of course they wanted to cancel him for that. Bring back the draft. Is that an unpopular thing to say? I mean, I'm 50, so they ain't drafting me. But yeah, maybe we should. Jer Hermy, thank you for the good question on what do I think of Westworld Season 4. Thank you for the $2. Josh, thank you. This Texan thanks you. And this Californian apologizes to the country for my entire state. And I thank you. But yes, I think for California, America, we owe you an apology for Hollywood, for being a bunch of freaking idiots, for voting Gavin Newsom in as governor, for existing, for Silicon Valley, for Susan Wojcicki, because she's a CEO. You know how, is it true? I've got to want to make sure that's true before I spout that off. Hang on. I'm fact checking myself. Google break. YouTube CEO. The CEO of YouTube once rented her garage to Google's. How Google started in Susan Wojcicki's garage. So she rented a garage and now she is the CEO of the single most important platform on the planet. And she has no understanding what it is. And I want her to. I want her to understand. I'm not saying bow to us all the time. I'm not saying everybody does everything perfect, because we don't. We are a bunch of, it's like herding cats here. I understand that. We have to play by rules. I understand why you don't tell us all the rules all the time. I do. Stop silencing people. We have the power. Give Crowder back his money, by the way. And stop silencing people. I want Carlos to be able to speak, and I want Steven to be able to speak. And I want to be able to speak. And I want the chat to be able to speak. Now, people take advantage of it. Sure. Case by case scenario, of course. We don't want any actual ists or phobes here on this platform bringing us down. Of course not. Of course not. But we are the power here. Advertise. This is the only place people are watching advertised content right now. At all. And by the way, the advertised content is just taking it in the shorts. So I feel bad for, a lot of YouTubers out there, and we don't get a ton of sympathy, and we don't deserve any. I mean, come on. We turn on the microphone and blah, blah, blah. That's all we do. But I want more people on the platform. I want it to continue to grow. I want to hear more voices, because then we hear more voices. And I think this is so much cooler than anything TV has to offer or anything film has to offer right now. And we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. The legacy media, man, they want us gone. They want us gone because they know the era of the superhero, the era of the celebrity is over. And if that's over, that means the era of film is over. And we are seeing it die, and it's going to turn into something else. Scripted television might become a thing of the past someday. I'm not saying soon, but maybe like in, 30 years, people will think it's silly. People will look back and go, they used to write words on a piece of paper and somebody used to pretend those words, and then they'd film it with like music in the background. How weird. How weird. Lady Gravemaster, yes, I'm still hiring a producer, but it's very complicated. I'll talk to you. Yes. Thank you for the $2 super chat. I'll email you back. But yes, I need something, but it's not something I can just snap my fingers for either. But we will talk. We will definitely talk. Captain Mohart for $4.99. Hey Gary, when do you think we will get good Doctor Who? By the way, I love the Rick Berman woodblock tot. Where or what gave you that? This was a gift. This was a gift. I don't know if she can make any more. She might be able to. I think Etsy these things. But email me at Gary Nerdrotic. I don't want to shout the person. I don't want to, yeah. But email me. I discovered a great show, 11/22/63. Loved it. 200-watt studio. Yeah, that's a Jar Jar Abrams joint, though. Wasn't that on Amazon? Yeah, I heard it was good, though. I think it was Jar Jar Abrams. I could be wrong. But he just produced it. R. Fletch for $5. Yul Brynner ought to come back and beat the shit out of him. That would make everything okay. If Yul Brynner came back and killed everyone, I would be cheering. Tears of joy. Mike Murphy for $5. Westworld Season 1 is amazing and is best treated as a one-and-done companion to the movie. Hail, Gary, and take care. That's right, because it is connected to the movie, because there is a silhouette of Yul Brynner in Ford's office, or was it in Bernard's office, or Arnold Lowe's office? But the music is great, the acting is better, and you want to know why? It was filmed before the election. It was filmed before the election. And what I didn't put in my video, which I'll put in my video later, I show you the timeline of the delay for season 2, why they delayed it, the rewrites, and where the show fundamentally changed. And it became Lisa Joy's show after at season 2, basically. And it was right around Christmas where they announced, we're rewriting the show. Christmas of 2016. What happened in November of 2016? The election. So while we will blame it on Harvey Weinstein, whose assistant is currently going to write, or has a deal to write a Karen Star Wars for Disney Star Wars. It's not Harvey Weinstein. It was the Orange Man. I got to break out Trigger Trump. There he goes. You know what? He would never wear this messy of a suit. I wonder if I can... His collar's messed up. There you go.
I have no choice but to tell you, you're fired.
There you go. $40 at Comic-Con. I feel for Tim. He just noticed he's not a lefty. JWT6577 for $2. Yes. Tim is in a very similar situation that a lot of us are in. Not saying I was ever like hardcore lefty. I am on some subjects for sure. But the world changed around us. Okay. So I certainly was I've always been mostly center, but like in the 90s, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to get political. For instance, here's how my mind changed on one instance, okay? Monica and Bill. Remember Monica and Bill? It didn't bother me back then at all. I was like, who cares? It's a guy getting a burp in the White House. Who cares? What has it got to do with policy? But I was 27 when that happened, 26. Then fast forward 20 years. And then I have a 19-year-old, a boy, but I have a 19-year-old. And I stare that 19-year-old in the face. And then I go, oh, that was shitty. That was scummy. That was disgusting. That was deplorable. My whole perception on it shifted because I got, you know what? Yeah, it was selfish. I looked my 19-year-old kid in the eye and I went, Monica was 19. Child. Fucking child. You don't think it's a child when you're 20 something? Then when you're 50 though, you see how young that is. And you're like, oh shit, what a scumbag. So yeah, things can change, but not that much. My politics haven't changed that much. They've changed around me. And I think a lot of you feel that way too. On both sides, you're like, whoa. What's going on here? But we know what's going on. Hollywood planned for a long time to have a president that everybody thought, Karen, we'll call her Karen, was going to win. Everybody thought she was going to win at first. I thought she was going to win. Then it started going like, wait a minute, I don't think she's going to win. But Hollywood had planned full bore, and so did the BBC. And we're going to do this. We're going to go on, because this is how you plan for trends. Sometimes you can try to create them. And they were going to go on a big, because there was a narrative going on. There was a narrative in news and a narrative in Hollywood. And that narrative was women empowerment, because we're going to have a woman in president, well, a woman in the White House. So we're going to make everything themed like that. And it didn't happen. And they were angry. And they still are. And they need to get over it. They need to fucking get over it. We have much, I mean, look at how much it matters now. It doesn't matter at all. The culture war should be over. Unfortunately, it won't be, but it should be fucking over. Now, they're going to pay the price when they get back. Wasn't it, didn't some empty-headed moron politician call for workers to strike when they're locked down? Consumers should strike Hollywood and the BBC. Every single one of you who feels like you've been disrespected, save your money, spend it on something else. I probably shouldn't tell you what to do with your money, but seriously, it's enough is enough. Enough is enough. Karen fucking Star Wars. Oh, and I know there's going to be the very brave souls on Twitter, the very brave anonymous army who's going to go, "You're judging something before you see it." Yeah. It's the idea behind the show. That's what my video is about. I don't care about the actual show itself. I did say in my video, it could be the greatest show ever. It's not about the show. It's not about It's about what it represents before it comes out. It's not about the show at all. So that's a disingenuous argument, but you will hear it. If you start complaining about this, you're complaining about something you haven't seen yet. We're not complaining about the show. We're complaining about the announcement of a show. We're complaining about the concept of a show. We're complaining about the direction Star Wars is going in because it hasn't helped them so far. So you can be, if you want to be one of those people who is wrong again, okay, because the show will suck. But if it doesn't, I'll be the first to raise my hand and said, I was wrong. This was great. I have no problem doing that. But I'm guessing people who wear masks, not all people who wear masks are bad, by the way. One of them is one of my very good friends, or are anonymous. I think they have a problem doing that. I don't know why, because nobody knows who you are. Be easier to admit you're wrong. I don't know. But it's okay if you don't. Jonathan Frakes comments, did it for me. I am officially trekked out. I just don't care anymore. Make 1,000 Star Trek Discoveries. Make a Jane Kirk reboot. I'm out. He's fucking done for $13.99. Matthew Crewing. That's on fire. Hell yeah. We're done. We need to be done. I will be trekked out after. I don't know if I can do Star Trek Discovery Season 3 all the way through. I'll try. I don't know if I can do it. I'm Picarded out. Fuck Picard Season 2. Nope. Star Trek Discovery will be it, and I might not make it all the way through. But that will be it. And that's it for Doctor Who, too. I will chronicle its demise. I will talk about news, but nope. I think, people say Bowles Trek and I heard it. I think we helped it. I think we helped start. I don't want to help it at all. At all. I don't want to watch it. I don't want to acknowledge it. It is dead to me. Now, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But, again, I'll keep the head in check, everybody. I'm sorry. I always thought you were a 30-year-old hipster. Yeah, remember yelling at plot holes. Keep up the good work, Gary, and stay young. Thank you, Big Viz 8497 for $5. I am 50 years old. Yes. R. Fletch for $5. Loved when California was going to secede from the Union. Yeah. One of my dipshit friends actually believed it. And I kept on telling him, dude, bro. I got to talk to him in Californese. I'm like, dude, bro. Dude, we're not going to secede from the Union, bruh. We would have to actually go to war, bruh. And all the military is federalized, bruh, except for the National Guard, which would get wiped out by the federalized troops, bro, and the Navy and all that federal land. Yeah. And most of the cops and pretty much every red county would not be for it. And they have most of the land. See, the thing is with California, if you look at the counties, it'll surprise you. It might. It used to be a balanced state. That's why I liked it. It's not anymore. I am a proponent. I think California should be broken up into at least 3 states. 2, I would take 2, but it needs to be broken up. That needed to happen a long time ago. Long fucking time ago. I mean, you got to feel bad for the people up north who, I mean, they don't have a say in anything. And that's half the state above me. So, Gamer Science Geek $1.99 apology accepted. Oh, thanks. I'm sorry. Yeah, and that's again, I'm apologizing on behalf of California for my state sucking. And I will do it again. I appreciate that. Have to join you in apologizing for California, Gary. I've been here since 83 and it's gone to shit consistently. Says C tab 76 for $4.99. Yeah, you know, remember that cringy "We're Sorry World" video? Because remember, before the Orange Man, the Bush man was the most evil president ever, and he was Satan incarnate. And, you know, I could almost agree with some things. But remember the "We're Sorry World" video? California needs to make a "We're Sorry America." We do. The hormone of the gods. I said that wrong last time, by the way. The hormone of the gods. Hail to you. Thank you. Doomsday killed Superman. What was the title? What was the title? It was in a Superman issue. It was the death of Superman. I don't remember what issue it was. Was it a relaunch or... Yeah, that one I don't know off the top of my head. I wasn't selling comics at the time. And I picked it up later. I was actually locked up. I was incarcerated when the death of Superman came out. So I didn't get to experience all that. I was incarcerated when Batman Returns came out. That's right. I have never seen it in the theaters. It sucks. So it was Adventures, right? Hang on. I'm checking. 500. So Superman 500. Because Adventures was the core Superman title aside from Action. God, when Dan Jurgens was doing Superman, people hate that era because it burned a lot of people out. But Dan Jurgens was the best with Superman. Absolute best. And he was doing it for a little while, and then they kicked him off for fracking Bendis. God, you're such a dumbass, Didio, man. Or Didio, or Dickio, or whatever. I know Ethan likes you, and you probably are a good guy and a hot dog salesman, but you fucking got rid of Jurgens for Bendis. Dumb. You deserve what happens to you when you do shit like that. And then you hire people who take pictures of their rim and send it to EVS to go work at fucking Vertigo, right? And then Vertigo goes out of business. I wonder why. That was AOC. I know I was trying not to say it was AOC. You can go back to work, then go on strike instead. Yeah, AOC is proof that she's got. I mean, AOC is terminally got hot chick syndrome, where she was. I guess she's pretty. I mean, she's not as pretty now, but she's pretty. So she probably went through her life one of the most privileged people in this country, and then she thought it would be the same in the political arena. And hell, there's people white knighting for her. Was it Angry Joe, right? White knighting for her on Twitter or something like that. I mean, that's his right to do it. I don't care, but yeah, I wouldn't. I stay out of that stuff. But that's an ignorant statement. That's an ignorant statement. She's gonna be fine. All those politicians are gonna be just fine. Fucking Patton Oswalt is gonna be just fucking fine. You know who's not gonna be fine? R. Fletch. I don't know, Fletch, if you're going to be fine, or Josh or Joseph Ross. I don't know if I'm going to be fine. If this goes on too long, I won't be fine. I'll try to be. I shouldn't say that too loud. I don't want to freak out my kid. But I don't know. Yeah, I'm just trying to, like every day I talk to my kid. I'm like, it's going to be okay. We're going to make it through this. You got like extended summer vacation. Pretty awesome. We get to walk every day together. He's reading. We have him schooling now, and we're going to probably have to enter him in a homeschooling program, which don't get me started. Well, on the personal stuff, he's on the spectrum, and he needs a particular kind of schooling. We got him into that schooling, and then this shit happens. So you roll with life. You roll with the punches, right? Eldrick Trust Lord just sent a phallic unicorn for $1.49. Thank you. I appreciate you. And Joseph Ross sent a superhero flying sticker there. So thank you for the $10. I appreciate that, Joseph. Kai, MFS for $5. If we split California, it would cripple the economy of 2/3 states because of the geography. It would be disaster. We would only work because we're one state. I don't know if listen. I'm not here to debate it. I don't believe that. I think it would not. But we're so entrenched. I understand why it can't be done, or it would be taxing, and it would require the politicians doing something they'd never done, working together. So that's not going to happen. So we're going to remain. What we're going to do is we're not going to change, Kai. Unfortunately, we're going to be this state that's one party that doesn't fucking do anything and get anything done. And it's going to go into debt massively. And yeah, so something needs to be done someday, but I'm not here to, I don't know what that is. People can put ideas in the comments if they want, but I'm not an expert. I just know it's too big. Did you see the preview for HBO's Perry Mason? What? But Kai, thank you for the super chat. You're always a great member here in the Phantom Menace. Hail to you, brother. And I love your haircut. Did you see the preview for HBO's Perry Mason? Let me guess. Black female? It looked like they were keeping Perry Mason as a non-person of color male. I didn't know they were doing Perry Mason. Perry Mason is Raymond Burr. Yeah. On HBO. No, I didn't see it. I'll check it out. The brown guy sends $1.39 Canadian, and he sends a poop. A San Francisco poop, though. It's a San Francisco poop. Let's see. I'm going to go back up. Captain Mohart, thank you again for the super chat. I'm just making sure I didn't miss any. Give me a moment. It's worth it. I don't want to miss any and get anybody mad. So there will be Friday Night Tights tomorrow too. I don't know who the sixth person is going to be. I will let you know in the morning. Az is going to be there. He doesn't know it yet, but he's going to be there. Now, hey, I was going to try to jump on his Bag and Boars stream today, and I couldn't. I want to publicly again apologize to Az. I had to finish that damn video. But I will jump on his live stream a couple times next week. I feel like I owe that to him because he's come on so much for us. And it's great to see. He was one of those channels. Mecca did this before, but he had a gaming channel. It was World of Warcraft, and it just kind of died out, and he restructured his channel, and he does this like low tier with the thumbnails. That's beautiful with the whiteboard. There's no fucks to give with Az. That's why I like him. All right. I think I got them all. Again, I scan them after the live stream. I'm going to do, because I did miss like 6 over the week. I'm sorry. So I'm going to do a special Super Chat square up just for those 6, and they're going to get a nice long time. I don't mean to do it, folks. I'm an idiot sometimes. So thank you everyone for tuning in. I'm going to bow out and get back to work. I want everybody to stay safe. be wonderful with each other, and don't support this shit anymore because they don't want you around. And it's not a right wing, left wing thing. It's a respect thing. And we're not seeing it yet. We still have obnoxious celebrities. And I think this is a good time to knock them down a couple of notches, just to remind them that they're human too. And it's okay that they're rich. I don't mind that they're rich. That doesn't bother me at all. Good for them. That's something you can aspire to. Just keep in mind that other people don't want to fucking hear about it. They really don't. Not now. There's the term dance for me. We'll say puppet. We won't use the other term. We'll say puppet. Dance, puppet. That's what you do best. Do it. What is needed now is more independent media to mitigate Hollywood. Would you consider showcasing independent creativity on your channel? Then you can be sure you're not helping the declining mainstream. Would I be interested in showcasing independent creativity on my channel? I do. What do you mean? Like doing a showcase? I try to shout out as much as I can. I rotate people in on Friday Night Tights. If we're talking about like comic books and books and stuff like that, I would love to do more of that. And it will be done in the future, but that is when I have somebody helping me full time and I can have a little more free time to read comic books and read books. In the meantime, I will showcase it as much as I can when I read something, but I have to read it first. I have to know what it is. Because I want to have control of that. So I don't mind bringing people on though. And you don't have to have a big channel or a channel at all. You don't. I'll eventually get to it. I just, right now I'm doing the best I can. I'm doing the best I can. It's not great sometimes, I know, but independent media is the way to go. You are not wrong, Shadowy Sage. That is the future. That is the only thing that can keep Hollywood in check, but it is happening. I'm not saying you're failing to see this, Shadow, but this is independent entertainment. Some people might question that, and you wouldn't be wrong. Okay. But it is. Quite frankly, I'm going to take a little break. Then I'll go watch somebody's live stream for a little while or go watch somebody else's video and then do my work. And when I'm doing like housework and stuff like that, I got a live stream on in the background. I don't have a TV show or radio show in the background. I've got Doomcock on the background if he's got a live stream, or Tom at Midnight's Edge After Dark, or freaking Critical Drinker. Whatever. There's so many of them out there. Sporking News Podcast talking about A Song of Ice and Fire. That's what I'm listening to. Men of the West, great YouTube channel. Preston Jacobs, love that guy. He probably hates me, but I love that guy. I love his crazy, dumb A Song of Ice and Fire. They're not dumb. Well, they're crazy. They're not dumb, though. They're very smart, actually. So that's what I'm doing. That is the alternative entertainment. It's us. It's us talking to each other. You believe that? You need zero budget for it. You just got to have a little bit of the gift of gab and I don't know, self-awareness, like a great balance of self-awareness and then no self-awareness. You need to be able to turn it off to just go, I'm going to talk for a couple hours to a bunch of people online, and hopefully I won't sound like a complete asshole. I'm not saying I've succeeded at that. I'm not saying I'm succeeded. To Brown Guy, thank you for the 100% and the $1.39 Canadian. All right. Hail, everybody. Hail to who was the Nerdrotics today? We had Lady Gravemaster. Hail, Lady Gravemaster, and I will email you tonight, okay? Mark Lerzeth, thank you. Who else did we have for the Nerdrotics tonight? Is Christy here? No, Christy. When Christy's not here, I think something's wrong. Douglas Nelson, what's up, buddy? Yeah, wow. No, Christy. That's weird. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you to the Nerdrotics. And I will see you guys soon. And, I'll see you tomorrow, actually. So please, if you haven't, go check out my video that I put out. A Star Wars video. I know. The next one really has to be Star Trek Picard. I really got to get it finished. So hopefully that's it. Unless some big comic book news comes. I will be talking about comic books some more. And Saturday night, tentatively, looks like a chill stream. Of course, the member stream tomorrow. There'll be a Patreon stream probably later tonight. And yeah, we're going to get caught up on some work. So again, thank you. Remember, not all who wander are lost. And may the wings of liberty never lose a feather. Ciao, Bella.